Allow me to begin by acknowledging that the land on which we gather is the traditional unceded territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabeg people. Honorable Stephen Guilbeault, Minister of Environment and Climate Change of Canada, my dear friend Ambassador Luis Villas-Valleso, Chair of the INC, and to all of you delegates, distinguished members of the INC, colleagues, partners, and friends of the environment. Welcome to Ottawa, and to this, the fourth session of the Intergovernmental Negotiating Committee to develop a legally binding instrument on plastic pollution, or INC4. And my deep thanks go to Canada for welcoming us so warmly here and for making us feel home, and to you, Minister Guilbeault, for your leadership and your hosting, of course. Now, 2 years have passed since the United Nations Environment Assembly greenlit these negotiations in which you are participating. And the resolution back in UNEP, I remind you, called for an instrument that deals with the full life cycle of plastic. So to stop plastic pollution, we need to start at the start and end at the end. And that means crafting an instrument that ensures that we use fewer virgin materials and less problematic plastic, that we avoid exposure to harmful chemicals, that we design for circularity, that we use and reuse and recycle resources more efficiently. This is the instrument that we need to protect human health as well as ecosystem health, while ensuring a just transition and space for the private sector to thrive in new sustainable economy. We have seen much progress, both in the 3 negotiating sessions and in the growing global backing for an end to plastic pollution. Multiple polls have shown that the public is heartsick of plastic pollution. Civil society, including indigenous peoples, scientists, waste pickers, women's groups, and local communities have spoken out loud and clear against plastic pollution. Businesses are innovating with new products and asking for clear long-term global rules. The finance sector wants to get behind this opportunity. 160 financial institutions representing $15.5 trillion in assets last week signed a financial statement on plastic pollution supported by the UNEP's finance initiative. Everyone wants this deal. So INC4 must take and make huge strides towards delivering by narrowing the options of the draft text, by taking tough decisions, by finding compromise, by agreeing on a mandate for intersessional work so that at INC5 in Busan this November, we can and will finalize an instrument that sets the stage to end plastic pollution. Friends, we've heard from most observers that the right policy and the legal environment will be critical. We're talking about global targets. We're talking about accelerated timelines. We're talking about binding rules and obligations. We're talking about a start and strengthened approach. And there are emerging points of convergence that can create this environment. Those points include, we are seeing convergence on eliminating the uses that are problematic and avoidable. We'll continue to need plastic for specific uses, electrical, transport, construction, but there's a growing agreement that much of the short-lived and problematic and single-use can probably go. We're seeing convergence on the need to redesign systems and products and packaging. There are many initiatives and standards to build on, and a growing number of proposals from member states or consumer goods companies. We're seeing convergence on extended producer responsibility scheme. A growing number of countries are embracing such schemes, are rolling out legislation in the global north, south, east, and west, from which we can build principles and guidelines. We're seeing convergence on innovative funding for implementation, both in the public and the private sector. We're seeing absolute convergence that this transition has to be just. There's a growing agreement that waste pickers must be part of the solution to deliver new, decent jobs. We're seeing convergence on the need to address legacy pollution, while the how and the who remains to be answered. And we're seeing convergence on the need for a reporting framework to ensure real progress is made and build trust through transparency. There are other parts of the deal where there are varying degrees of convergence. And you know what these areas are, but let me just highlight one, because it's clear that positions still vary when it comes to chemicals and polymers of concern. I recognize that there are different proposals on the table. In my view, a fine needle can be threaded that ensures that we land with credible and implementable pathway on this critical matter. I believe that this will entail building bridges to the Science Policy Panel on Chemicals, Waste and Pollution, which is under negotiations, as you well know, and learning lessons from other multilateral environmental agreements. All of this is within the power of you, the negotiators, to influence at INC4 this week. Allow me also to remind you that we need to think about the future beyond INC5 and the completion of the negotiating process. As you will recall, the UNEA Resolution 5.2 that requested me to convene this INC also requested me to convene a diplomatic conference upon completion of the INC negotiations for the purpose of adopting the instrument and convening and opening it for signature. And in this context, of course, I would welcome inputs and guidance on the convening of the diplomatic conference. Friends, we can be proud of what we have achieved, but a job half done is a job not done. Time is against us, both in terms of finalizing the instrument, but also how much more the planet can take. As we deliberate, plastic pollution continues to gush into the ecosystems. So I ask for INC4 that you show energy, commitment, collaboration, and ambition to make progress, and that you set the stage for INC5 to finalize the instrument that will end plastic pollution once and for all. Thank you.